This is Dave Meltzer with Entrepreneurs, the Playbook. I have another Bill Walsh, not from the 49ers, not from Utah, but the Bill Walsh, and he's the founder and CEO of the Objection Box. Welcome to the Playbook, my friend Bill Walsh.
David, thank you very, very much. I appreciate it. Thank you.
It's great having you here. I love your hat. I love your name. Unfortunately, you're not the first Bill Walsh to be on my show, but you probably won't be the last either. I will tell you, as far as all the other Bill Walshes go, we have a lot in common in their respective industries, careers, and jobs. But I haven't been this excited to talk to someone because I've been doing a ton of research on the meaning of objection. And I just gave a speech last Saturday on objection as protection, and you have a philosophy, a meaning of a transformative power of the objection box methodology, which you have perfected and you share and implement and guarantee success in the realm of making more money, helping more people, and having more fun in sales. Well, I welcome you, the king of objection handling. My first question is, what is the meaning you give objection?
Jeannie, that's a big, I always get embarrassed when people speak like that, David, and coming from you
Good.
who is
I love
mental
embarrassing
sound,
people.
I do appreciate that. Objections are a funny old word in sales. As you well know, it's somewhat of a taboo subject. It's a dirty word, and it's something that salespeople have avoided their whole careers. When I walked into sales, David, I looked at it and I said to myself, that's the hardest thing in sales to do. I'm going to go for that. And no matter what you do, no matter what you say, no matter what you kind of pre-handle or build rapport or whatever else they want to ram down your throat, you're still going to get it. You're still going to have to carry the hard yard. You're still going to have to go into the paint, as you guys say over there in America. So I looked at that in a way of like, how do you get there? How do you get into it? How do you actually overcome them? How do you actually get past, I suppose, the fears and the limitations that our prospects put on themselves? So once you learn how to handle objections and effectively, everything else became easy for me in sales, and that's something that I've always wanted to give our students and our prospects, feed the objections and get comfortable with them.
And that word comfort is so important. I always say that when we're dealing with objections, it's our confidence and comfort level in dealing with them that holds the most power. Um, but one of the other things that stands out to me, and you started full-time in sales in January 2021, and by 2022 in June, only a year and a half later, you were channeling these different solutions, these different ideas. In fact, the idea of what you're teaching today and the evolution of today, you wrote on the back of a piece of paper, I think, with a pencil when you were working out at a health club.
Mm.
I'm a big believer in intuition when it comes to getting the information that best is our calling. For
Yeah.
you, what, stopped your workout and, really was this intuitive calling of, wait a second, I think I figured this out.
Yeah, that's a good point. Firstly, I'm not a big technology guy, so pen and paper is my go-to. I'm old school. I'm a CD kind of guy. I'm not a big iPods or, I know we have an iPhone and stuff like that. It's more necessity, but I looked at the sales landscape and I was very fortunate enough to work with some great people when I started in sales. And I looked at what people were being taught and I looked at what people were being educated on. And most people wanted to spend 90% of it focusing on everything but objections. When it all came down to it, David, as you well know from your own career, if you can't overcome objections, if you can't get past the smoke signals, if you can't get through to your prospects and you can't figure out a way to bridge the gap for them, all of that rapport building, all of that, tonality training that people are doing, all of those kind of great questions that people are going through, it all goes out the window if you can't handle anything that they throw at you. So I looked at it and I looked at the landscape and I said, there's no way that all of these great salespeople missed the big boat, but they did. And I found it. And we've grown massively in 20 months. And we've pretty much taken a big chunk of that market, you know, in the last 20 months. So we're very proud of it.
And you should be proud because it's not just hype. And the outcomes of 2 to 5 times income for the clients that go through your sales objection box methodology is unquestionable. The reviews and the testimonials and the people who are making more money, helping more people, and having more fun in sales because
Mm.
they're able to handle the worst part of sales. And it's the worst part of dating as well, by the way, objections. It's probably where I got my seasoned experience trying to date the most beautiful girls at the club. But it was a great experience for me. But there's a whole nother realm, you know, as a student of sales myself, and I'm constantly learning. I'm looking for people like you, which is why I wanted to have my third Bill Walsh on the playbook, is I'm constantly looking for the business of sales.
Yeah,
You know, there's a million great ideas out there. Like you said, you and I admire so many different salespeople, and we've learned so many different aspects of sales from so many different salespeople. I've done it from Zig Ziglar to Dennis Waitley to Mike Bosworth, and the list goes on down through spin selling, solution selling, variety of different methodologies. But
yeah,
where you really exceed beyond your knowledge of how to be comfortable and confident in objections is really understanding the business of sales training to guarantee the value, to provide the value, to open the top of the funnel, to stimulate interest and transition it to give that articulation of the quantitative value. What are some of the things that, as you're looking at other sales trainers, executives, and coaches, that you think you could help them with in allowing them to share their sales methodologies? Because your success is ridiculous in less than 2 years, over $4 million in revenue is extraordinary for such a short amount of time.
yeah. And look, we've done a lot in terms of cash, and you always get somewhat embarrassed by it, David, to be very honest with you. And you know, it's like a great sports player. They're always thinking about the missed pass, or they're always thinking about the puck that they didn't put in, or anything like that. So for us, you're always like, what could we do? What we could have done more of? But we've had no real ads or anything like that. I just focused on product for the first 2 years. And most of that business has been referrals, upsells, cross sells, and actual people speaking and building on the testimonials. So what I would say to people, everybody wants to chase one thing, David, as you well know, and that's the bottom line, it's revenue. I chase one thing and one thing only, and that's production. I wanted testimonials, I wanted case studies, I wanted my name out there, I wanted my name, even when I talk my shit, because I'm Irish, you know, we talk a lot of shit, and we muddy the waters, as we say. We have the crack as and the Kjol in Ireland, as we say, and it was Paddy Days yesterday, so I missed out on all that because we're running 75 hard. But when you talk your talk and you speak your shit, but you can back it up day in, day out, you know, that's the kind of brand that I wanted to build, and that's what I wanted it to be about. And ads and all of that stuff will amplify it, but the biggest thing for me was product, making sure that you can produce and making sure that you can stand when people want to push you over. That was the biggest thing for me. So I would say to any business owner and any salesperson who wants to get into business of sales, you got to be able to produce. You got to be able to back your word. You got to be different. You know, you have to have a USP.
Well, St. Patty's Day is something that I will always celebrate because my youngest, my son, was born on St. Patty's Day. So it's changed its atmosphere, but the celebratory aspect of St. Patty's Day is a day I am always off to celebrate the miracle of my youngest son. But now there are emotional drivers that help to overcome objections, to be confident and comfortable in the realm of your purpose has to be greater than that pain, as we say over here on this side of the pond. We
Yeah,
both share financial difficulties growing up, and you know, understanding how that impacts us in sales when we grow up with financial difficulties and struggles in that respect. How much of your upbringing do you feel has infused the desire that it takes not just to teach people
yeah,
and to sell that type of business and training, but more importantly, to know it yourself? There has to be, just like a great athlete, you just can't have the skills and knowledge. You have to have the delta, the desire in order to effectuate overcoming objections.
yeah. Great question. everything that you've done in your life, David, has given you education, I would imagine. Everything that you've experienced has given you an education. And I'm no different. I'm 31 years of age and I'm 31 years beyond my years. I've had young girls early in my life. I've been in the military, played high level sports, grew up in Ireland with a mother who demanded a standard, you know. So all of those things feed into finding the courage, but also a big thing that's missing in sales is leadership. People get into high ticket sales and sales positions because they think it's an easy touch. It's not an easy touch. You're trying to help somebody change their lives. And what do people need? They need leaders. They need people to shine the light, and they need people to, you know, not just talk, but actually show. You know, you can't just say you're a leader. You got to show you're a leader. So, big thing for us was always being able to do that. And look, big part of my life has always been going through adversity and coming out the other side of it, you know, and keeping going, hitting the standard every day. You know, that's a big thing for me.
And the biggest thing in objection handling, which you are the expert in, your training has seen such great success with so many people. To me, it's the objection that's unseen.
Mm,
There's so many people that don't understand the subconscious mind is our greatest uh, defeat when it comes to sales. The one that says, you know what, stop making phone calls. You know what, they're going to say no anyway. I tell a story about Arthur Blank at Home Depot and was looking at their checkout, and they started to sell warranties, which is a great upsell.
yeah,
A lot of electronic companies will sell the 2, 3, 5 year warranties on different electronic products, but they had appliances and tools that also could have these warranties. And so they had the garden checkout, they had the consumer checkout, they had the contractor checkout, and then of course they had the auto checkout. And there was one of those four checkouts that sold 3 times as many warranties as the other three checkouts combined.
yeah,
And this is where that unseen objection came out, because I was blown away when I found out it was the auto check that sold the most warranties, because it just simply asked every time. It didn't create an objection where there wasn't one. How much of what you teach in the objection box methodology is understanding that 80% of our thoughts in our subconscious mind are negative and unfortunately repetitive, and those are the greatest objections that we receive?
yeah. It's a big thing because most people don't want to do anything, David, but everybody wants the outcome. And we're in tuned from a very young age to back away from perceived danger or perceived, you know, difficulties. And, you know, that's why you see kids going absolutely bonkers. And as people get older, then it's, you know, you pull away from things. And I'll give you a good example. When I was a young lad, when I had a twin in Ireland, we used to go on holidays every year and we would always go to an amusement park and we used to love roller coasters. Now I'm 31 years of age. If you gave me hundreds of thousands of dollars, I wouldn't go up on a roller coaster. Why? Because it's perceived danger to me, and the risk to reward is far too great. So we have to understand that as people, that you know you're asking your prospects to do something they fundamentally do not want to do. So you have to understand the bridge and the gap of which is more important, you getting to the outcome or you staying in the same danger, pain, problems, concerns that you're currently facing right here, right now. So it's just understanding that psychology, but it's understanding, you know, the drivers that people want you to know without actually being told. You know what I mean? And that's the difference between a good salesperson and a great salesperson. A great salesperson can hear the words, like a tremendously great salesperson can see the words that aren't being said, you know, and can read the room and can read between words. And that's really important to be great.
And using the objection box in order to facilitate a greater percentage of sales, but you
Mm,
do it so quickly. One of the other things that stands out about your methodology is that within 45 days or less, the objection box methodology really increases income. It's a quantitative valuation. I always say that the companies that do the best, the trainers, executives, and coaches that do the best, are capable of articulating a quantitative value to exceed what they're
yeah,
asking for. And when you're increasing income in a very short amount of time, because most people the two things that stop them, besides that subconscious negativity that's repetitive in its nature, is one, just the understanding of aggregation, acceleration, and compounding of outcomes, meaning that it takes time. Good behavior creates good progress. It doesn't create good outcomes. And you've been able to really go against the trend by being able to, within a 45-day period of time, show a quantitative result to exceed what you're asking for in the objection box methodology.
Yeah. It's sales to me is very, very easy, David. I came into sales in 2021 and I just felt like I'm going to dominate. This is so easy. And I'm very fortunate because there's lots of things in my life that I'm absolutely atrocious at, like terrible. I have a 3-year-old and she could take out a puzzle and I will get frustrated after 30 seconds that I'm out. But for sales, for me, it was just like something just clicked in my head and was like, I know what's going on here. I know these people. I know how to help them. Sales is, as I said, very easy. There's 5 objections in the market. There's 5 objections, okay? Think about it: partner, money, fear, logistics. That is it. When you break things down and you pull out all of the rubbish that people want to be ramming down people's throat, and you break it down to 5 things. If I give you 5 things to learn, and you're gonna guarantee that you're gonna make double, if not triple, your income, how many people will go all in on that? That's the key. So you have to give people an outcome and a timestamp, and you got to take out, the confusion. Once you take out confusion, all that's left, David, then is the work. And if your feet are held to the fire, the work is the key, and that's what it is, and that's what we do. And it's great that you said that. And the proof is in the pudding. You just have to look at the social medias. It's just there in black and white, and that's the key for everything. You can't say it if it's not actually proof, because you'll always get found out. As you know, David, you've been a student of the game for many, many years. You'll always get found out if you like, and that's the key for me.
Yeah. Yeah, the truth vibrates the fastest, and it's so simple to understand the two ways that we provide value. One, by giving people more of what they like, or two, taking away what they don't like. Those are only two ways that value is transferred. It's the articulation in a in confident way in order to articulate that value to exceed what we're asking for. I love the 5 different things that we can learn, and I always say there's only time, value, and emotion. And when we can understand, is this the right time? Is this the right value? And are we emotionally aligned with that value? Utilizing those 5 different objection box methodologies will absolutely quantitatively provide you the increase in statistical success, in income. Any salesperson out there should learn from my friend Bill Walsh. He is incredible. If you want to make more money, help more people, and have more fun, if you want to learn how to sell from the best, then join all of the millions of people that are out there that are learning from Bill Walsh. Bill Walsh, thanks for joining me. This is David Meltzer with Entrepreneurs, the Playbook.